All right, safety. While working in the garden, it's just common sense, but there may be things in the garden you're not familiar with. You need to be aware for your own safety and what you can do for your fellow gardener's safety. Gardening can be a great way to enjoy the outdoors, experience nature, and benefit the community. Here are a few things you may not be familiar with. Hazards. Hazards are something we avoid every day. Don't step on an uneven edge, don't pick up broken glass, and don't run with scissors. Active garden work areas present potential hazards that we need to be aware of and prevent from creating for others. The garden's not a flat area. It contains objects that can catch your foot and cause you to trip. Raised beds, hoses, containers, tools, inappropriate shoes. Watch where you're stepping and try to keep objects out of the way of other workers' paths. Many of these tripping hazards and other objects are sharp. Tool blades, tool handles, wood frames, and all contain sharp edges, possible protruding nails and screws and splinters. You can't forget sharp objects that could be in the soil or thorns on plants. Use gloves to protect your hands, closed shoes to protect your feet, and appropriate clothing like long pants or sleeves if needed. Garden work's an outside activity. Here in Southwest Florida, you need to be aware of exposure to many things, especially in the summer months. Sun exposure can be reduced with hats, long sleeves, and sunscreen. Heat can cause significant health effects, and you should always remain properly hydrated and stop working if you have any symptoms such as headache, dizziness, stop sweating, or weakness. Rain's a good thing here in the garden, but lightning means you should immediately seek shelter. If there's any sign of lightning, you should immediately find shelter in either a building or a car, never under a tree. The garden's irrigated with well water. While we're not aware of any specific issues with the well water, remember it is not purified like county water, and all areas of the garden are exposed to it. Soil is a community of organisms that supports a healthy garden. While it's good for plants, it's not something you want in your body. Protect your skin and keep soil away from your mouth. Properly treat any wound that's exposed to soil. Use gloves when working in the soil. You will encounter insects in the garden. Pollinators and beneficial insects are present, as well as pests to both garden and you. Here in Southwest Florida, mosquitoes are first to come to mind. We should have heard about using repellent and long sleeves for protection. Other insects you might be concerned about could include bees and wasps that are attracted to the garden and ants that might be present. Be sure you have appropriate treatments if you have any allergy to insects. The concept of a community of organisms applies not only to the soil, but also to us. When working in a food garden, especially if that food might be consumed raw, we must practice good hygiene. If you are working directly with food plants, be sure your hands are washed and harvested plants do not touch possible sources of contamination. We should be careful with what the soil might expose us to and what we might expose our customers to. Finally, avoiding strains and injury while lifting in the garden is important. This type of work may be a new experience to some and care must be taken. When lifting, use your legs, not your back. Always ask for help if you're working with heavy lifting. Performing heavy work while standing in an awkward position or twisting while carrying or lifting can cause injury. Always take stable stances before lifting and do not twist your body while lifting. Get good solid handholds before attempting lifting and ask for help if you need it. If you have any medical conditions that might be impacted by garden work, take all precautions to avoid aggravating that condition. If you have any medical conditions that may be impacted by garden work, take all precautions to avoid aggravating that condition. Know what to avoid and adjust your activities to stay safe and healthy. If someone needs to be aware of any needs, let your garden supervisor know. If you need help, ask. And finally, like any other outside area, personal security is common sense. The garden is not visible from the road. When meeting your work group, be sure you know who you're going to meet. Always remain aware of your surroundings and do not work in the dark. Working outdoors in Southwest Florida in a garden can be a great experience. It takes the everyday common sense we use to stay safe. We need to just add the knowledge and experience of what new things we will encounter in the garden and keep ourselves safe and healthy, and do the same for those who are working with us and those who will benefit from our labors. Thank you.